drivers are door to door as they head towards turn 1 and 2. They make contact around both of them go.
Incredible race out there tonight, drivers. Thank y'all so much for putting on such a great show for these fans. There was side-by-side action, clean, good, hard racing. Thank y'all so much for what y'all did for these fans. And give them a wave as you come down the front straight.
Well, Logan, another week, another diecast of the week.
Yeah.
We've got some more beautiful. We almost like coordinated numbers here, 4 and 5.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about it this week.
Normally, we just like grab a car and bring it.
Normally, we'll talk about like, what are you bringing? Well, we didn't talk about it at all this week. So
no, I did a Casey Kane last week, and I opened the cabinet this morning. I was like, man, I don't know what I want to bring. I almost brought the Bubba Wallace Warthog car because of the race at the San Diego base yesterday. But I was like, nah, I'm gonna snag a Casey Kane because it's just a beautiful farmer insurance car.
Well, it's kind of funny because I brought a Tony Stewart last week also.
We're synchronized.
Yeah, we are.
We're synchronized.
I'll tell you the one I almost brought. I almost brought a number 5 car.
Oh, it would have been perfect.
So I have a Terry Labonte Father's Day card, and I almost brought that one. And I was like, nah, Father's Day passed. I'm not going to bring it, and then I brought this one, so I wish I'd have brought it now.
Nah.
Then it would definitely have been synchronized. So.
It'd been the 5-5 show. Anyway, I've got, this week, we'll do our diecast and then we'll move on. The number 5, Farmers Insurance, 2012 Casey Kane, Hendrick Motorsports car. It was his first year with Hendrick and one of his first paint schemes with the new team. So, I had to have that diecast being a Casey Kane fan, and he goes to Hendrick, he goes to a good powerhouse, and you're like, man, I feel like he's going to be really good. And he won some races, sure, but I feel like that was kind of like the back end of his health issues.
Yeah,
so
he definitely wasn't as competitive as you would think he would have been.
Right.
But, years later now we figure out that he had all those health issues, and that was probably what was
concussions and stuff, man.
That and the heat drain he was going through. Yep. Obviously he would say like there'd be a puddle up under him, whenever he would just be standing there. So I can't imagine trying to wheel a race car for 3 hours and how much that took out of him.
Right. I mean, they talk about weight loss in a race car period. In a NASCAR Cup race, I think the average is 8 pounds per race they lose just in sweat.
8 to 12, something like that.
And Casey Kane is a small dude. I mean, he can't weigh no more than 150 pounds.
Yeah.
And losing, almost 10% of your body weight in a race is crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm sure he had to have a lot of fluids after races. Is that like a matte gray on there?
Yeah, it's a matte gray. So I looked it up because I couldn't remember what year he started with Hendrick. And, all my boxes with the details are put away because my stuff's always displayed. And so I looked up the year, and they said that some of the races they had a matte gray, in which that finish is the matte gray, but they also had a silver finish as well.
Okay.
And I kind of remember it running in Michigan because it was just like a lighter blue and a lighter silver.
Yeah.
So
I really like the matte colors
that
they would run back then on those cars. So.
Yeah, I like the matte colors as well.
I have brought a Tony Stewart. I think it may have been Nationwide. I think it was Nationwide back then.
It says Nationwide on the windshield.
Yeah, Nationwide Series car. It's 2010. It's whenever he won the opening Daytona race and the Nationwide Series. It's a race version, so it's got like some little scuffs and stuff like that on there. And there for a few years, man, he was unbeatable in that 250 race at Daytona. He won, seemed like every year.
They couldn't catch him.
Yeah, and as a fat, Oreo and Ritz is both things I like. So
agreed. Just
a good-looking car. I just like having different kinds of cars, and being a race version, I was showing you off camera earlier. It came with a little pin. I think this is one of the only cars I have that came with a pin instead of like a piece of rubber or something like that. But just a cool little piece to add to the collection. And I've had that car since 2010, and it was in my primary collection. Like I had a 10 car case, and I had it in there forever, and now it just resides with the rest of them in the closet.
Gotcha. You have a lot of cars that have like little pieces of memorabilia with them. I don't have a single car that has any. Well, I've got the Dale Earnhardt Talladega win you gave me that has the confetti and like the fake $100 bill stacks.
That one was really cool.
Yeah. That's the only one, and that came from you. That was a gift from you.
Yeah.
And so
that one was that one I bought in a lot. That I think it was a bunch of Dale Earnhardt cars. It had 1/18th car we talked about. It had the rookie car that I brought earlier this year, and just I may not have brought the rookie car yet. The Dale Earnhardt rookie car. No, I brought the 30 car. I have the rookie car. I had 2 of those, but I traded one. It was a Skittles car I brought that I traded a rookie car for.
Yep.
But it had just a bunch of Dale and Dale Jr. cars in that lot, and you're a way bigger Dale fan than I am, and so it was one of those deals where that was actually Davey's wedding, and so I wanted to bring both of you boys a car. Brought you that one. I brought him the autographed Bobby Labonte car because he was a Bobby Labonte fan. So,
which is fair.
Yeah,
Bobby Labonte, great guy.
Yeah,
trying
to add to both y'all's collections at the time because I know y'all were just really getting started on the collecting path.
Right.
You know, you had a few cars, but not a ton, and I think after that was whenever we kicked off our whatnot addiction and started down that path. But fun fact, you know, my dad has been mistaken for Bobby Labonte before.
Really?
Yeah.
I can see that.
Back in the day, we walked into the museum at Talladega, and this was, man, I was probably like 8 or 9. He took me up there just to look at the museum, and we toured the track. And we walked in, and the ladies were kind of like whispering, and they go, "What's your name?" He goes, "Bobby," and they went, "Labonte?" And he goes, "No," and they went, "Oh God, we thought you was him." And he was like, "Oh, okay," and they were like, "Well, we could slap a jacket on you that says Interstate and we can make some money just selling people autographs." And he was like, "Oh, yeah."
No, I could see it.
Yeah.
With your dad's haircut, and I mean, he's not a big guy. You know, he kind of has the same stature as Bobby Labonte.
Yeah, they honestly looked a lot alike back in the day. And my grandpa, funnily enough, looked like Bobby Allison.
Really?
Yeah. And so there was a huge, like, close comparison between them two. And it's just wild.
Something about the name Bobby.
It is.
Everybody named Bobby look alike.
Both of them were actually named Bobby. You know, my dad's a junior.
Right.
His dad, both of them were technically named Robert.
Right.
And so, but, you know, until my dad came along, my grandpa went by Bobby. And so he looked like Bobby Allison. My dad looked like Bobby Labonte. I don't look like anybody. So
you look like Logan to me.
apparently, you know, I have the Kyle Petty hair from the '80s, but that's about it.
Yeah,
So,
the true long hair.
yeah.
Well, anyway, 2 more amazing diecasts this week. We're killing it on this diecast thing.
I know, I'm liking it.
Yeah, we got to keep going. Well, I know this weekend we've got some big racing coming up in Mobile. We've got some. Is it back to 7 classes this Saturday?
I haven't even looked.
Or is it 6?
I'm getting a note that it's 6.
6.
So,
Okay.
But no, I looked at the schedule the other day and just kind of glanced at it. I didn't count. I was like, you know, hey, I do know. As far as I can remember, there's multiple rounds of practice scheduled for everybody, which is, you know, that's good. It gives people more track time. The only downside to that is it has been so hot here lately. Yeah, you can't really learn anything in those, you know, daytime practice sessions like that.
Right.
You can learn that, you know, the track is slick, but that's about it.
Yeah.
All the oil and stuff tends to come up out of the track. It gets really hot. You don't have near as much grip. But it doesn't change a lot whenever the sun goes down, just because it is still so hot right now with the sun down. You just don't have the track getting baked and the track temperatures go down slightly.
Right. Plus humidity. God,
Yeah.
Humidity's killing me.
Yeah, especially with all the rain and everything we've had here lately. I know I mowed my grass and it's already back shin deep, and it's been a week.
Yep.
So,
Same thing here. Cut the yard a week ago, and it's already almost up to my knee in the backyard.
Yeah, my dad used to say all the time, you know, if he had the money, he would just concrete the whole yard and paint it green. And like now as an adult, I'm like, dude was on to something,
He's got
man.
an
Like
idea.
I should have done that.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I told Ashley we need to get a couple goats. Get a couple goats for the backyard. We ain't got to worry about it. We just eat it up as time goes.
It's entertainment as well. Get the fainting kind, then you can go out there and just, you know.
Faint ones are fun.
Yeah.
Those are fun.
Yeah, my dad always wanted one, but I was like, you'll kill it. You know, you can scare him to death. And he was like, oh, it costs too much for that. And I was like, yeah, like you'd be out there every 5 minutes.
Well, I know we posted on Facebook we wanted to do a Q&A session, and so we brought in the wife of mine, Ashley, to sit in the corner and ask us some questions off of Facebook. I think we got a few on there. I posted it a little late. I posted yesterday afternoon pretty late.
Yeah.
And I reached out, I was like, dude, do you want to try to do a Q&A? And you're like, man, why not? And so I posted it, and I know we got a couple hits on there.
Yeah.
So we'll let Ashley ask the questions, and we'll answer from there.
I honestly thought that I was going to get the question, why do I suck? So and it never popped up. I was like, maybe nobody stopped.
It will now.
So, it will.
It will now since you said something.
So.
Let me tell you who asked the question.
Sure.
Okay, Tucker Celeste asked, whose racetrack dad am I, Christopher Morton or Eddie Shoemaker?
So I'm assuming he means who's his racetrack daddy.
Yeah, Tyler's a little illiterate.
Yeah, Trevor never understands. Ever since he fell off that ladder at the track, he's not been the same.
He's got the blame blamage.
Dame bramage, as I call it. I don't know. I guess Chris would be your daddy because he's basically the boss while you're there.
Yeah, he does yell at you a lot more, I feel like.
Yeah, so. Eddie pays you the money. Daddy Chris tells you what to do. So there's your answer, Tyler.
Yeah.
All right, who's next?
Bart Eden said, if you could pick one band to play in the middle of the track during a race, who would it be? And then name your favorite song by them.
So Bart Edens asked who would be our mid-track entertainment if we could pick a band and what song from that band. That's a good question. There's so many options out there.
Yeah, that was a good one. Probably Big and Rich. They put on a good show.
Big and Rich?
Yeah, they're not as popular anymore, but I was listening to some of their older music today. And they're just, that was one of my first concerts. They put on a heck of a show. Whenever they do have a concert. So. Yeah. And favorite song by them is one that I rediscovered earlier today that I kind of forgot about. It's called Nevermind, or Nevermind Me, something like that. It's more of a slower song, but it's just a really good song.
Yeah, I tell you what, one song I tie back to a NASCAR game, NASCAR Thunder 2004. The opening song was Breaking Benjamin, Diary of Jane. And I feel like Breaking Benjamin will put on a heck of a show.
Yeah.
They're just old school band, been around forever, put on great music.
Yeah, there's a lot of options there. So yeah, I'm not 100% confident in my choice, but I'm going to go with it. So.
Hey, it's out there now.
Yeah.
Your brother, Corey, said, what's your favorite race memory or incident at a local track?
So my brother Corey asked, what's our favorite memory or memory of an incident, I guess, at a racetrack?
You go first.
Favorite memory. I told everybody a couple weeks ago that my grandma made me a flag set when I was a kid, and so I love flagging. That's just kind of where I wanted to be. And so I had a flag set, and there was a race night that I missed. Well, I say I missed. I didn't get to go with my grandpa because I was sick. I had a stomach ache, and my mom wouldn't let me go because I was sick. And so my mom kept me home, fed me some chicken noodle soup. I was maybe 7 years old. Yeah. I remember being like first, second grade age. And I got to feeling better. And it was like 7 o'clock. So, races were getting ready to start. And so I got my mom to bring me to the track. And I was like, Mom, just take me. I want to go to the races. I can feel better. And I remember walking in, and my grandpa had a bunch of friends. So everybody kind of sat in their spot. And I remember walking in, there was a bunch of people. I showed up my flags, and there was a bunch of people clapping. They were like, oh, Tim made it.
Hey, you were popular before you were popular.
Hey, and so I that's something that always stuck with me.
Yeah.
And so that's just, it'll never leave my brain.
Yeah. I've got two, probably, and both of them kind of relate back to just racing with my dad. So the first one is, it was more recent, but I've got my very first race I ever directed at Mobile was on my dad's birthday. Okay. And so that was pretty cool, like a cool little birthday gift to him and everything that him and my grandpa ever did for me. Right. Just kind of to do that. That was a couple years ago. Second favorite memory was 2014. We had a really dominant season. I don't think we finished worse than third that year. We just, brand new car, first time we went into debt on the car, don't get me wrong, but it was the first time we ever spent the money on stuff to have a really, really good race car. To the point of like, we went around asking for a grease gun one night, and half the people we talked to were like, we'd be happy to run second to y'all tonight. And it was like, I've never had that before. But the final race of that year, we had a good, decent points lead. All we had to do essentially was start the race and finish, and we were going to win the championship. Right. And so I was so worried because we had a left front spring that had given up. And so that corner of the car would collapse an inch during the course of a race night. And I was worried that we were going to be under frame height. We were going to get thrown out. So I set the frame heights super high. And Bobby was like, you're going to mess up the handling. You're going to do this. You have screwed us up for this race, this, that, and the other. And I was like, look, just drive the car it's gonna be fine. The numbers all match up. He's like, well, you don't understand. You know, you've thrown off the geometry of the suspension, and he just whining the whole time. And I was like, look, dude, just drive the car. It's gonna collapse. It's gonna go right back into its area where it needs to be. Just drive the car.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right. And so we were getting ready for that race, and he goes, I'm gonna ride. And I was like, okay, that's fine. You know, I think we were starting third, second row inside, and he was like, yeah, I'm just gonna ride. I think it was a 40-lap race. He was like, I got plenty of time. I'm gonna just ride. We'll see how it shakes out, and if I can go for the win, I'll go for the win. We come off forward to the green flag. He was 3 wide for the lead at the flag stand. So much for riding. And there was a picture of him like down at the very bottom, and I was like, he's never going to make that corner. Mm-hmm. And so after all that complaining about how I'd screwed up the geometry of the car and all this stuff, it went flag to flag, you know, green the whole time. We won by over half a track.
Yeah.
Like, we were dominant in that race. The tires never fell off. The car handled good. And so it was just one of those deals where I got up to victory lane, and we had the big Mako 1000 check we got to pose with and feature winner sign and everything. They were just starting to do that. And I was like, so how to handle? He goes, shut up. So it was just, but that was one of those deals where I was like, okay, I might have this kind of thing figured out now.
Right.
And then we quit racing.
Sounds like redneck cool binding to me.
Yeah, essentially, yeah, man. It was just, we had issues that year with that spring, but the car was so good. The other issue we had was our oil pan that year. You know, there's in these higher performance engines, there's these things called windage trays and flapper doors and all that keep the oil where the pickup is. Mm-hmm. That way the G-forces don't pull it away and put it in the back rear corner of the oil pan, and you lose oil pressure. And these tolerances on these motors are very tight.
Right.
So if it loses oil pressure for a second, you're going to burn rod bearings and main bearings and stuff like that. So everywhere, you know, one of those baffles and stuff was tack welded into the oil pan. It was pulling apart, essentially, the sheet metal oil pan. And so, man, the bottom of that oil pan by the end of the year, because we didn't want to pull the motor out. It was first year we'd had a motor that ran the entire season. We ran it the year before. It was a good motor. It was stout. And we just didn't want to pull it out and flip it upside down and possibly cause an issue. And so the bottom of that oil pan was covered in that steel stick stuff, mm-hmm. where you knead it together and then it hardens.
Right.
We would spray the crap out of the bottom of the oil pan, wipe it as good as we could, and then we'd steel stick the whole thing and just trying to patch it and make repairs on it to make it last the season. And it lasted. And so it was one of those things that just another memory from that season. So that pretty much that entire 14 season was just a really good memory. We had a proprietary radiator in the car from Fluidyne. We were testing for them, something they rolled out the next year that was one of Circle Track's 50 greatest or 50 inventions of the year. Really? You know what I'm saying? And so we got lucky and met Gary Johnson, the owner of Fluidyne, in the grandstands at Talladega, and happened to run the same car number as him. And so that kind of sparked a friendship, and him and my dad just talked racing during the entire Talladega races. And he'd had what he called a few too many adult beverages one year, and he told Bobby, he was like, why don't you run a Fluidyne radiator in your car? And he was like, what do you run? Bobby goes, I got a CNR, came in it. And he goes, why don't you run a Fluidyne? And he goes, I'll be honest with you, Mr. Johnson, I can't afford one. Mm-hmm. You know, they're $1,500 for a radiator. We just didn't have that. Right. We ran $500 radiators at the time. We also ran hot every night. And so it was just you make do with what you have. You put that money towards something else. And he goes, what if I can, I can't give you one, but what if I could sell it to you for cost? And he goes, well, it depends on what cost is. And they talked numbers, and we were like, we can run that. Yeah, we'll run a sticker on the car. We'll
make it work.
Yeah. And so for the 14 season, he called Bobby, and he was like, hey, we still got our deal, but I'm going to send you something a little bit different. And he was like, okay. And he goes, it's going to be, you're not going to think it's going to work, but it's going to work. The engineers have verified this, and it was the thinnest, lightest radiator we have ever run. Held the least amount of water, but it had a 32-pound radiator cap, where most of your cars are running like a 12 to 18-pound cap. That one had a 32-pound cap, and we had to put a lower radiator hose on that car every race, because it would so much pressure, it would swell that radiator hose up like that. Wow. And it would hold, but we had to replace it after every race because we were worried the second race, whenever it swelled up again, it was going to pop. Yeah. So that whole 2014 season was just a good memory. First, good and bad. First year without my mom at the track. She passed early 2013. We ran that entire year. We didn't get any feature wins, and we won second night out in that brand new car at Mobile, and that was a like hugely emotional night for me, just because first win without mom,
Right.
And so that whole season was just a good memory.
I got you. Corey also asked about incidents, and I know
Yeah.
somebody commented on our YouTube page. I'm sorry, I don't remember your handle right now, but they want us to talk about more wrecks. People love wrecks, and we know it's a part of racing, and we love racing for the sport of it and the action pack of it. But wrecks are a big part of it too.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have a wreck? I can go first if you need me to. I was thinking of one. I just don't remember the year, but it was. I mean, I was a kid again, but it was Robert Burrows. You remember Robert Burrows? Purple, yellow, and red, late model, number 52, I believe. And he went off turn 2 one night and flipped. I don't know how many times. And he came. They brought the wrecker back in the day, Po Boy Wrecker Service, and they didn't really have a flatbed. They double hooked the two wreckers butt to butt and carried the car to the pits. And the only thing left of that car was the chassis. Of course, the motor and all that in it, and the left front tire. Yeah. Everything else was ripped off that car. The body was gone. The other 3 tires were gone. And I to this day don't realize, I don't understand how he didn't get hurt. Because, I mean, safety was, coming along, but it wasn't what it is now.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, but he walked away, and that car, I'm sure, was totaled.
Yeah. I don't have a favorite one. I have a couple that we were involved in that just made me kind of see how dedicated the crew and everything was. We had one year where we got sandwiched on a restart, and the 2 lead cars did like that. Bobby tried to shoot the gap, and they came back together. It bent the bumper back into the radiator and busted the radiator, and the Langhams lived right across the street. They sent somebody to their house, got us a radiator. And that was a heat race. We were able to make the feature. And then just, a lot of hands on that car trying to make it work. We broke an axle one night in practice. A lot of hands went on Bobby's car to get it repaired. Brand new car, kinked the brand new body we had just put on that car. And that was Sportsman days. That was whenever we cut the whole trunk section off that car and everything. We worked all winter to get that body looking good. Right. And it kinked it first night out. We didn't even have stickers on it yet. And so it was just a red with a duct tape number 30 on it.
That's usually how it goes, huh?
Man, it just made me sick. And then, but he went out. I think he ran second or third that night in that car with I can call it out now. It was kind of cheated up because, you're supposed to have 4-wheel working brakes. Well, when it broke that right rear axle, it ripped all the brake components out of the right rear. And so it had drum brakes on there. So we weren't going to go buy drum brake components to make the race. Right. So we just pinched the brake line off and didn't have, a right rear brake.
Check it.
Well, he was like, this thing actually drove a little better. I was like, yeah, we got to have 4-wheel brakes though. And then there was a night where they were running double features, and Darren Matthews came back out this year, obviously. And Darren, we always had kind of a thing with Darren. That was one of the guys that Bobby tried to. He told me he chased him down after the checker because Darren spun him coming to the checkered one night. He chased him down, and he said his goal was he was going to stand on the door and pop his head off like a Pez dispenser because he wore an open face helmet. And we had a big fight on the front stretch with that one. But Darren got mad at us for something. We doored him or something accidentally, and he drove across the left rear of our car and drove just all the way down the side of it and tore the body all up. The door was dragging, flopping. And so Bobby came in, we drilled the door off, and he went back out, and so much air got in the car at that point, the entire body kind of lifted up, and he was it was shooting rivets out of the dash at me as I was going down the back straightaway, because he got up to speed through 1 and 2, and then he kind of got up to speed going down the back, and then it just kind of slowed down. But the entire crew jumped in that night again, and we made patches for the quarter panels. We put the door back on, did everything, and honestly, it looked like it had been wrecked, but there was a solid, complete car that rolled out for the second feature. Right. And so just anytime you have, the whole crew will come together and really just give it their all to try and get you back out there, it's always a good thing. Yeah. So, and we didn't have, I was pretty adamant with my crew members about what repairs needed to happen in certain times. I remember watching people rip fenders in half trying to just be too quick about repairs. And I was like, we have drill bits. We have drills. We have drill bits. Do not rip a $135 fender in half.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they're like 200 now. But I was like, we do not have extra fenders.
Yeah.
So drill it off. If we can't make it back out, we can't make it back out.
Yeah.
But do not rip a fender in half or I will not let you back in here.
Right. That's going to be the end of your career.
Oh, yeah. You will not work for us again. I watch people do it and then not even go back out. And it's like, y'all just destroyed parts for no reason.
Yeah. That's people with some money that don't.
Yeah. One, honestly, and I just thought about it, though, probably the top, thing, though, and it had escaped me. I was thinking about fenders, and I have a fender off this car at my house still. You remember Charlie Bradbury?
I do.
Charlie Bradbury was
R.I.P.
was dominating a super race one night and was coming to the checkered, coming out of 4. Augie Grill was running second, and Jesse Reed was being lapped for the 3rd time. Clipped him in the right rear, sent him head on into the wall. Augie passed him at the line. Charlie downshifted and took him and Jesse over turn 1, just all the way out of the racetrack on the rev limiter, and then he came walking back, waving to the crowd, and just, I was like, man, I went and talked to him after the race, because back in those days, we were scrounging for parts, just anything we could use, so when the late models wrecked, I went over to the parts pile that they would have by the garbage can. I'm like, ooh, it's a good fender brace right there. That's, I could use this piece of duct to point air toward Bobby and blah, blah, blah. And so, just anything we could use. So I'm going through parts, and one of the crew guys goes, you want a fender? And I was like, no. And he was like, come on, Charlie, come sign this fender for this little boy. And I was like, all right. So I talked to him about it, and then he passed later that year, and I still have that fender to this day, signed by Charlie. Whenever he went into the Alabama Auto Racing Hall of Fame, I offered it to him to put up in his booth and everything, and they were like, we have the memorabilia we want. We appreciate it, though.
Gotcha.
And so, but yeah, that was probably one of the top things of, got wrecked, caught a gear, made sure he destroyed the other car on the way out.
And they kept going.
Yeah.
See y'all later.
Carried him out. So
Do we have any more questions?
Yes.
What's the next one?
If you could change one thing to make race nights better, what would it be and why?
I know SSR's done a lot of changes this year for the good.
Yeah.
We've talked about the checker flag lap. We've talked about the fireworks, dice rolls for inverts, dice rolls for laps on Legends.
I guess mine would be, I wish we could give people a little bit more insight into what we do and all that goes into these decisions that we make.
Right.
Because, a lot of people, they take it personally whenever things don't go in their way, or they think we're just making decisions off the cuff. There's a lot of back and forth that goes into a lot of these decisions, and I never knew that as a racer.
Right.
And I guess this is more my insight coming from being a racer to now a race official.
Right.
So there's a lot more that goes into it than what you think. There's a lot of deliberation, a lot of time spent, and we always try to do what we feel like is the best for everybody involved.
Right.
While it might, pick on one or two people, it's not purposefully done that
Right.
way. It's always just, somebody's got to come out on the losing end.
Someone's going to get hurt. It's going to benefit somebody, and it's going to hurt somebody. And
Right.
it comes with judgment decisions based on what's going on.
Exactly. And so that would kind of be mine, is just, I wish people could see a little bit more behind the curtain of what it is and what we do, because there's a lot of times whenever, we make these decisions and people think, well, they just rush through a decision. And it's never the case. We do take our time, we try to deliberate, and we try to make sure that it's the most fair and the best outcome for everybody.
Right. I don't know if there was anything I would say the track or a race night needs to change. If there was something I could change, is I wish I would just see more people in the stands again.
Yeah,
I mean, sure. We keep going back to the old school Mobile days. That's just where we grew up. So we that's our reference.
Yeah.
There was nights you had to stand up at Mobile. You had nowhere to sit. The stands were so packed, and that was just a regular Saturday night show.
Yeah.
And then you've got streaming services now, and you got.
I was just going to say, I feel like streaming has killed a lot of that.
Yeah.
Instead of going to your local short track, you just sit at home and watch it on your couch. And
it's not the same.
No, it's not
the same.
It's really not. You don't get the smells. You don't get the the atmosphere, the ambiance. You don't get any of that, and then you don't get to cheer that driver on when they get out of the car.
Right.
And as somebody that raced for a couple of years there, but with my dad for years, it's always cool whenever they climb out, even if it's just your driver. If it's not you driving, when they climb out and the fans kind of go crazy for them, and you can hear people shouting, you know, "Go Bobby!" or whatever. It always just it gives you goosebumps a little bit. You don't get that when they're not there.
Right. And so, like, even at SSR, we don't have a streaming service. So if you're not here to watch the racing, you're missing some incredible racing for one.
Yeah.
This is, we say it all the time, and it's just the truth. We have some of the best up and coming racing talent in the Southeast here at SSR. Swept podium at Thursday Thunder at Echo Park a couple weeks ago in the Charger Series with the 228 Motorsports boys.
Yeah.
It's just, you need to come to the track and see the amount of time and effort that's been put into the track.
For sure.
Here at SSR. Mobile's done a lot of stuff too, and they're still upgrading as well. But to come see these kids display the talent they have and the way they're just able to will a car. They're not even old enough to drive a car on the street.
Yeah, I know Cam was our featured driver of the week, and he's 14.
Right.
He's the oldest, I feel like, out of all the Bando boys, as we call them.
Yeah.
I think Mason Massey's about to turn 13. And I want to say Evan and Bryce are right there with him.
Yeah, 13, 14, somewhere up
something
there.
like that. If they're 14, it would surprise me.
Right.
But it's just one of those things that the amount of car control these kids have is just incredible. And one that, I fall back on a lot, and it's been a long time since he's raced here with us, but Nicholas Denton, Cole Denton. He has went on to incredible things and
winning ARCA races.
Yeah, and cut his teeth at this racetrack, and that just kind of shows the amount of talent that can come from this facility.
Right.
Brandon Jones cut his first laps here. Grant Empinger, first laps here.
Grant Thompson,
all
these guys travel races
that went on to very big things, and Dustin Smith.
Dustin Smith, true.
Cut his first laps, not his first laps here, but definitely this was a stepping stone for him to get to where he was going. But it's one of those things that this place is just, it's been here for these drivers in such a big way that I feel like that gets lost on some people.
Right.
Of how many good drivers have actually come from this facility.
Yeah. And so, again, if you have not come to SSR or to any local racetrack for that matter, wherever you're at, support your local racetrack. Because
bring a friend to the track for sure.
Absolutely.
It's a completely different experience than watching it on TV.
Right.
And spend a little bit extra money, go into the pits, and walk around and talk to some of these kids, talk to some of these drivers. They're super hospitable. They'll tell you all about their cars. If you have a little one, bring them out.
Yep. Most of the time they'll get to sit in a car.
That's what I was going to say. 99% of these drivers, if you walk up with a kid, they will ask, "Hey, you want to sit in the car?
You want to take a picture?"
Yeah. And I can remember that was one of my favorite things racing with Bobby was the little kids would come over and their parents, they'd be looking in the car and I'd be like, "Here, put them in there." And, they'd take the steering wheel off, prop them in there, put the steering wheel back on for them, let them pretend like they're driving for a minute. And it was so crazy to me because that car would be hot. It'd be right off the racetrack. It's 120 degrees inside of it, and they're like, "This is so cool." Right. And I'm like, I know that seat is sweaty.
I've done it a few times just in the flag stand. You have people that just aspire to work at a racetrack. Kids that come up to the flag stand and that's so cool, I want to see. And I've put them in the flag stand. Like that kid a few weeks ago, I gave a checker flag, put him in the flag stand, let the dad take a picture. And that's exactly what happened to me with my grandpa. He took a picture of me in the flag stand. Next thing I know, flagman in Mobile.
Yeah.
And so you never know, people just love racing.
Yeah.
And so come back to the track.
And we love to, foster that love of the sport. Anything we can do, I bring people up to the tower all the time just for a little extra view out the window to see how the entire track looks from just that perspective.
Right.
I think it's great. At Mobile for years, I always wanted to go up to the tower and look and see what it looked like. And now I'm lucky enough to be up there every race.
Right.
And it's a different perspective for sure.
Yeah.
And so,
it just any little insight that can give anybody the bug of wanting to go to a racetrack. I think, and it goes back to like, we're sitting here doing this. because we love racing and we want people to love it just as much as we do. We want to share as much as we can about it.
Right.
And so to get you fired up and love racing.
Unfortunately, we haven't had any racing to talk about because of all the rain.
It makes it hard to make a podcast about racing when there's been no racing in a month, huh?
Yeah. NASCAR has still been carrying on, so that's been...
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, we did race at SSR a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Had another great night of racing.
Yeah, we did.
But we've already covered that.
We did. Weekly show. If you're not racing every week, you can't really cover racing every week. So.
Right.
But the Coronado base was yesterday.
Yeah.
I thought
that was a
really
good race. Corey Heim is unbelievable.
Yeah, I was very surprised by the end of that race, especially, Bubba Wallace having a wheel fall off and then still coming back to finish second. And so just really cool.
He was 2 laps down.
Mm-hmm.
Got 2 free passes. That's a big track, by the way.
Yeah,
3.4 miles.
That's crazy.
2 minutes and like 17 seconds to get around it. Yeah, I mean, so obviously not many people are going to be a lap down.
Right.
With that size track.
Right.
But to come back from 2 laps down, finish second, that's a great drive.
And the wreck with Austin Hill and Van Ginsberg and Zilich and all that took a lot of the favorites out right there.
Yeah. You took your 2 favorites out.
Yeah. And did you see the interaction between Noah Gragson and Magnuson?
I did.
Yeah.
I don't know what caused it, but Noah was upset.
Magnuson just flat out spun him out.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
I didn't see it. I watched the race. I just don't remember seeing it.
Well, they're in the back, man, so they don't cover a lot of that.
Right.
And so, but, I think Noah doored him and almost ran him out of room at one point. And Magnuson didn't like it, so he gave the bumper to him and just turned him around.
Mm-hmm.
And Noah was upset about that, and Kevin just refused to he was like, F around and find out.
Right.
And so it was just one of those deals where it was like, yeah, these guys, they understand when you come to these cars, this is full contact racing. This is not F1 or Indy or wherever they come from.
You're going to bump. You're going to slam a door.
If you give it to them, they know that they can give it back. And there's not the stewards are not going to penalize them so many seconds for avoidable contact.
Right.
Like, we're not that sport. That's the difference in round track racing is
full contact sport.
Full contact happens.
Yeah.
If you use the bumper and, short track, you're going to go to the rear, especially if we have to throw a caution. But it's one of those things that in NASCAR, you get what you give kind of deal.
Yep.
So he knew he wasn't going to be in another race, so he was like, I'm going to go ahead and take this out now. So
yeah, for sure. Well, we got another, like we said, great weekend coming up at SSR.
Mm-hmm.
As we were saying, come to the racetrack. Mobile.
Yeah,
Mobile, sorry.
Possibly SSR.
Possibly, yeah. I know they're trying to figure out what night they want to race or what we're going to do there.
Yeah,
so keep your eyes on Facebook for that.
Yeah.
If you're not following the SSR Motorsports Park page on Facebook, go do so. A lot of cool stuff, especially with the drifting side coming out. There's so much racing now. It's a beautiful thing to have. SSR, Mobile, Five Flags. I mean, you got like Deep South Speedway, but SSR having the ability to have round track and drifting. I mean, there's so many motorsports. You gotta get out and support them.
I feel like the drifting thing is a blessing and a curse on that because they scheduled all these drift shows. They're generally 2-day shows. That takes away from our rain out makeup dates.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that you can't predict the weather.
Right.
And I'm not saying that in any negative way, but it kind of limits you on when you can have your makeup days because you've already got that track time allocated for a completely different motorsport.
Right.
And that's that is the caveat of having a multi-sport facility now.
Right.
Is you have to make sure it works for everybody.
Yeah.
And so trying to race this week, they're trying their best to make sure we get all our races in. And I know a lot of people are going to ask, like, why don't we just tack the races on to the end of the year? INEX only takes points
for so many days
for up until a certain day in October.
Right.
That's the reason we can't just add a race on the end of the year because then it'll count for local points, but it won't help any of our INEX drivers.
Right.
And we tend to have multiple state champions every year that come from this racetrack because of their INEX points.
Yep.
And we don't want to
Florida, Mississippi, all around us. Yeah.
Alabama. We don't want to put them in a spot to where they can't earn their INEX points, and so we try our best to amend and adapt and make sure it happens.
Yeah, for sure. Well, keep your eyes on the SSR Motorsports Park Facebook page to figure out whether we're racing Friday night or Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
But definitely racing Mobile Saturday night,
Mm-hmm.
and looking forward to that. Well, Logan, Any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
Yeah, I do want to wish my daughter Jaden. Her birthday is the 23rd, so I want to wish her a happy birthday.
Okay.
So
Happy birthday, Jaden.
she is currently in New Orleans with her mom on a little birthday trip. They went on a riverboat kind of paddle boat cruise, and
That's cool.
They're going to the zoo and to the aquarium, all things she loves. I get her for the month of June, but her mom texted me about that and was like, hey, would we be able to do that? I was like, yeah, experiences always outweigh anything. We live in the same neighborhood. I can get her anytime I want to get her. We have a great relationship as far as that goes.
Right.
As far as, it's not what's my weekend, you can't do this. No, she's going to have fun doing, what you're doing.
Right.
It's better than us sitting at the house,
Right.
And so, but happy birthday to her. She'll be 9. She's 4'10" at 9. So yeah,
She's not too far off you, huh?
I know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be looking up to her soon. It bothers the crap out of me, honestly, because I'm like, this is not right.
This is not how it's supposed to be.
Exactly. Especially my daughter.
Right.
I thought, she shot up like a friggin' weed, man, and a lot of people don't believe she's 9 because she's not only tall for her age, she's very intelligent for her age. There's not many kids you can have a conversation with.
She does have a pretty high maturity level.
Yeah,
for age, for sure.
and so
I'll agree with that.
we have we watch a lot of YouTube shorts together now. And there's the one where it's like they'll play tag or they'll play something, and then the person will turn around and is like, I don't want to play this game anymore.
Yeah.
It's been a running gag for the last week in the house. She'll tag me and I'll run after her and she'll turn around, I don't want to play this game anymore.
Yeah.
I'll do the same thing to her. So it's been a lot of fun.
Hey, it sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much for following us on Facebook and subscribing to the YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
We've also got the Instagram page up and running, TikTok. It's closely almost done.
Keep forgetting to make that. I'm not gonna lie to you.
So follow us on all our socials. Spread the word from the tower, SSR Motorsports Park, Mobile International Speedway.
Mm-hmm.
All these guys that we're trying to help our little community of racers. So
right now we're still pretty local. Definitely toward the end of the season when it cools off a little bit, maybe on a weekend when we're not running, one of the other tracks, we'll head down to Pensacola, maybe interview some of those drivers, something like that.
Yeah, branch out a little more.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because that track's it's in our backyard, but it's got a little distance to that backyard.
Yeah.
So.
But a lot of people come from those tracks, racing Mobile and racing SSR, family or kids.
There's people, they're racing Friday night this week, and there's people that's going to do the double Friday night there, Saturday night in Mobile.
Yeah. It's a lot of racing.
Oh yeah.
So come on out and support it. We love you guys. Thank you for being a part of the From the Tower family. And we will see y'all next week.
Thank you.
We at From the Tower want to take a second and thank all of our amazing sponsors, the 2 of them we have right now. The first one, OEC Workplace Solutions. They donated us a very beautiful table to do our work on, so thank you to them. Go see them for all the other office supply needs, office furniture needs. They have multiple lines of furniture and different things you need for the office setting. Make sure you reach out to them and check them out. Also, All-Star Graphics, Matt Hillhouse, a racer here at SSR, does a great job with the cars on track, vinyl work, stickers, shirts, t-shirts, signs, yard signs, has everything you need to make sure all your signage needs are taken care of. Thank you to our sponsors.